Hey guys, Dana Jacoviello here, founder of Bullies Keep Out, and today we are doing episode 24, and I am going to talk about basically what everybody's talking about is quarantine. And I have back with me a new co-host that will be joining me from the UK. Also, one of our team members, also one of my very close dear friends, Kat Pagdin. Welcome to the Bullies Keep Out podcast. Glad to have you. Yay, yay, yay.
Good. Thank you for letting us in as well. It's been really cool to be part of it as well.
Yes, and if anybody doesn't understand either of us with our accents, I don't know what to tell you. Because we both have accents. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out for anybody. But, it should be fun if you want to get some, funny little laughs in there. Like, what did they just say?
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Me and Kat can understand each other, so as long as we can, that's all. You guys have to.
That's all that matters. Yeah,
you guys have to try to figure it out. So basically, on this episode 24, we're going to talk about quarantine, and obviously, this is the subject matter of everything everybody's talking about because it's worldwide, it's global, it's all over social media, and everybody wants to know how everybody's handling it, how everybody's doing. There's a lot of, we've had a lot of lives on Bullies Keep Out every week trying to help everybody from March. As you know, you've actually been on one of them yourself, Kat.
Yeah, that's right.
And, it's been helping everybody. We've gotten massive amounts of messages, and even the people who have been on the lives, the special guests and advocates and people that we work with and know and that we love and adore have, appreciated it as well. And, it's human interaction. So, of course, we all love it. I mean, we miss it. We're not, we're craving it. And, I mean, I know I am. I'm just like, it doesn't really, matter who you're quarantining with. Because you still miss that outside world of everybody else, so
that's very true.
Yeah, in traveling, it's like people want to travel. I mean, I have friends all over the world, so it's like for us to not be able to either me go there or they come here, it's like I mean, it's nice to see each other on FaceTimes and all that stuff, but it's like you just want to grab them and hug them and kiss their face,
That's very true. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly, and it's like, I don't know. It's just it's weird. It's a weird time that we're living in, and when this airs, I'm sure it'll still be a topic of conversation, regardless of how the world is doing. And hopefully, we're on the trend upwards because a lot of places are starting to reopen and things are getting better. New York is still a little bit of a mess, but we are getting into phase 1. Hopefully, it'll just move quickly towards then. I mean, we want everybody to be safe, obviously, and it's very congested and dense here. But
absolutely.
Yeah, but at the same time, a lot of us are eager to get on with our lives as well. I mean, as safely and as much as we can.
Well, I never thought that I would ever say I'm really looking forward to go back to work. I never thought I would say that, but I generally am looking forward to go back to work. It's just a routine. It's a routine that you have that you never knew you needed. So yeah, to have that taken away from you, it's very much exciting to kind of get back to the norm. Or what is hopefully going to be the norm. Who knows?
Well, now, not any little bit of you is worried about going back into the world and making sure that you don't get sick or bring it home, or anything like that. Because I know you and I had discussed this personally, and we were like, a lot of people are nervous about actually going back to work, even though they're eager at the same time.
Yeah. I think for me, it's different. I'm nervous to a certain degree, but where I work, it's not. There's not like thousands of people. We're not like working on top of each other or anything like that. So I've got like my own office. So I'm quite safe in that sort of aspect. It's if I worked in retail or if I worked in the hospitals, for example, or anything like that, that would for me be a little bit more of a worry. But I feel that I'm going to be okay going back to work. I drive to work. I don't use public transport or anything like that. I worry about my wife Jess because she's a hairdresser, so she's going to be the one people and all that sort of stuff. But I'm not too nervous. More so than what other people could be, I guess.
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, Jess is not using public transport, right?
No, she drives as well, so she's got a car as well. So, she normally shares the car rides in the morning with her boss / friend. So she's quite safe as well in that aspect. But for her, it's going to be difficult because they don't know how it's going to work yet in the salons. Like, are they going to wear PPE? Are they going to work longer hours and have less people in? Because they're going to have so many people come back in.
See, that's what I was just going to ask
you. The next 3 months.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you.
That's going to be really busy.
I was just going to say, like, in the UK, tell us a little bit how your quarantine and how it is over there for you guys. But also, yeah, I mean, how is hair salons going to work over there? Because, I mean, here, I don't even know how they're going to do it either. Because I don't know. I know in California, they were starting to open up. But, I mean, are they
Yeah.
From what I've heard, that the employees are required to get coronavirus testing. But then you still have people coming in and out. I mean, yes, of course, you require a mask. But are they going to wear PPEs? Because hairdressing, waxing, all that stuff, that's that requires very close contact with people.
You are literally touching the client.
Yeah, even if you're wearing a mask, you're still breathing like very closely to these people.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, for me, like it says, I'm not touching anyone. I can kind of send people away, that's fine. But for Jess, she's actually going to physically be touching people. But I don't know, quarantine over here has been very, I think, similar to everywhere else in the world, I guess. Social distancing, having to get used to it. So for me, I struggled within the first couple of weeks for me because I wasn't used to it. I'm a social person. I like sort of being around people. So I kind of struggled with it. But I think in the UK itself, I think we did quite well. I think people listened to it after the first week. We've just started phase 1 2 weeks ago, where before the actual quarantine was only leave the house if you really need to go to work from home if necessary. Otherwise, you can only go out and exercise for 1 hour a day, and that was it. That's literally what we could do. Now it's all of that plus. You can go out the house for as long as you want now. You could play non-contact sports. It's really weird because it's still quite vague. So people have more or less been making their own rules up. So I'm quite worried that we might get a second wave in the next sort of few weeks for what's been going on here over the past week or so. Because it seems to be the weather has been so warm and so nice. And I live on the coast, as you know. And driving along the coast today and yesterday, it was like a summer's sort of, Saturday. It was today's, but it was so busy as if it never happened. It was as if this pandemic isn't going on, like how busy it is. So that worries me. But I think from the 1st of June over here, which is obviously Monday, people can go up to 6 people, and 6 people can meet up from different households into private gardens or parks, but keep to social distancing. And the news is roughly that hairdressers could potentially go back from the 4th of July. But how that works, we don't know. No clue.
Okay, so you actually sound like you might be a little bit even more strict than the United States.
I think so.
Yeah, it's
been quite strict.
Besides New York, but we weren't even, we were allowed out more than an hour. They weren't really telling people that they couldn't go out. They were just telling them to wear masks and social distance. In the beginning, they were, and by the time this airs, who knows what's going to be going on by the time this actually airs. It could be very different for all of us. It could be great. I read an article today that they were saying that there's possibly a vaccine by October, but who knows? That would be fabulous if there was. Because... Yeah. The sooner we can not have to worry about wearing masks and we could travel and feel safe again, our world is going to be a much happier place right now. But we're in phase 1. I don't, we're getting into it. I don't know how long it's going to take to get into phase 2. Hair salons here are probably not going to be allowed to open until either the end of phase 2 or phase 3, depending how it goes.
I've heard about some August or September time over there or something, isn't it?
Well, September I know September is Broadway, if it still holds.
Right.
I don't know about the hair salons, but I know in most places the hair salons are phase 3 or 4, but California is only in phase 2, and they're allowing them to open now. Yeah. So I don't really know how I mean, I don't know if it's because places are doing better. My concern is if they start to do too much too quickly, there's going to be a second wave. So, like, the second salon's open, my ass is not running to the salon. I can tell you that. Like, I'm going to probably do my own hair for right now. And then, I mean, I'm not, where am I going? I mean, what am I doing? So, it's like, I'm going to do it. Like, Beverly said it. You know, it was funny. Beverly said it in the live last night with Bullies Keep Out. She's like, she's been doing her own too. And she's like, until I have to go somewhere or work or have, like, you know, or go someplace where I have to worry about, okay, I got to get my hair and all this stuff done. She's like, I've been doing it myself. Like, like, until I have to worry about it professionally being done. And I said, well, that makes a lot of sense, because unless we have to do something specific, what does it matter, honestly, what we do to our hair at this point?
Yeah,
it doesn't.
It really doesn't matter.
So, like, I'm probably just going to buy some, like, haircut shears, and then when it's, you know, and then just try to chop it off without... whatever the heck, you know, the heck they're called, and I'm just... I'm not just taking any pairs of scissors and just... There's actually, like, special shears for hair. I'm not just taking, like, kitchen scissors and just chopping my hair off.
Shears over here, it sounds like you're going to, you know, you've got, like, a big... outside you've got a big fence or something, a big hedge. That's
No. They're called like called like haircut shears or something. But I mean, basically, it's especially for hair. Like, some people will take like scissors that are used to cut paper and they'll chop their hair. I'm not doing that. That's gonna make your hair look like even more choppy.
Definitely not.
I want to use I want to use like scissors that are actually for your hair. You know, like if I'm gonna mangle the shit out of if I'm gonna mangle the shit out of my hair, I want it to at least look nicely mangled. You know what I'm saying? Rather than like, you know, you'll see a picture of it when I do it, because I'm gonna be doing it soon. But because it's just getting to the. I mean, my eyebrows are driving me crazy too, but I can almost keep those tamed. I can keep that pretty tamed. I'm not going anywhere. It's just, for me, mentally, like, everything's driving me crazy, because you like to be groomed. So, but that's the least of our problems in the world, so I'm not ever really complaining about that much as, like, you know, some people are. I think there's so many more important things in the world than worrying about our hair and our nails and all this crap, because I'd rather be safe and have our world go back to the way, like, you know, not go back to normal, but the new normal. I'd rather have that than, you know, worried about, like, that I got to do all this special stuff. I mean, I can groom myself at home. I mean, we're grown adults. I mean, I know how to take care of myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
You know,
I think I've been quite lucky, though, because, I mean, obviously, with you know, I've had my hair trimmed, which it's very lucky, because not many people can do that. But, you know, just that small, like, bit of trim on my hair, right, it kind of made me feel, like, really good. So I get that people are probably going to want to do it as soon as this lockdown lifts. They want to go and make them feel better about themselves. You know, they want to go and get the hair done, the eyebrows, whatever else they want to get done. And I get that these places are going to be, like, really busy.
But that's another thing. People should really, like, you know, that's another reason why I want to hang back, because they're going to be so busy. Who knows when you'll get an appointment?
They're going to be so busy.
Because they're not going to pack their salons. They can't. I mean, they have to. So it's going to take forever to get an appointment. So you might as well wait until things settle down. I mean, unless you can get in. But see, for me, I mean, I guess because I'm a little bit more safe being immunocompromised, I'm a little bit more weary about running. I want to make sure there's not going to be some massive second wave before I run and go do stuff that's very close. I mean, that's something there's no social distancing there. When my lady does my threading or my eyebrows, she's literally breathing in her face is like on top of my face. I don't care if she doesn't have coronavirus. It's not a good thing to be doing at this time. You know, and then the person in the seat in front of me, you need to make sure that they are wiping things down, and you don't know if they're really doing it. You know, that they're after each person, they should be wiping down everything with, like, Clorox wipes. You know, I mean, there needs to be very strict guidelines for these salons and these places that are very close, where there's no such thing as really social distancing. But, you know, I agree with you. I think that we all need to be very careful and slowly do these things the right way, so there's not some massive second wave.
100%.
Because that's the last thing we need. We'll just be all right back where we started, and we'll be starting all over again, and we'll all be in the house for 2 to 3 months again. I mean, look, people are still in their house now because, like, there's lots of things not open. There's lots of things we can't do probably until next year. So technically, we all, besides work, we probably all are pretty much going to still be home.
Yeah.
And even people that don't go back to work are going to be home. And then the people who obviously lost their jobs are going to be home.
Yeah. That's another thing that worries me as well, about obviously losing jobs. And I know that obviously you've been in the situation recently as well. Is the countries, not just the UK, the US, everyone in Europe, all over the place. Like every single country is going to go through a recession because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that worries me, because the unemployment rate is massively increased, like hugely. We were quite lucky because we were put on furlough over here, and our government are paying 80% of our wages. And as far as I know, I think 8 million people are on furlough. I might be completely wrong on the numbers, but I'm sure it's around about 8 million people, which costs them roughly about 15 billion, like every payday. And it's kind of like you put these numbers together and you think, wow, like how is this ever going to come out of this hole like that they've sort of dug themselves into, or we've dug ourselves into, and this pandemic's dug ourselves into? It's that worries me. That's another worry, because it's financial, not just health. It's financially affected everyone. And yes, I'm lucky that I'm getting 80% of my wage, because that 20% that I'm not getting paid would probably have went towards petrol, gas. I'm sure you guys call it that. Food for when you're on your lunch at work, going out for meals, going out for drinks, they go to the pub. That's what that 20%. So technically, I'm not really missing it.
The pub.
The pub. I can't wait to go back to the pub, honestly.
No, we used. It's funny because I used to go to
the pub for a pint.
I used to go to this Irish cottage pub, and it's like it kind of reminded me of that. It actually closed down, but it's like I used to go there like a while back, and it's like so when you said pub, I was like, oh, it's a pub.
Yeah, it's a pub.
We call pints and pubs over here too. I mean, well, some people do. They like to, Well, there's
you guys all call it bars, though. You don't call them pubs.
Well, it's bars, but like the Irish cottage was technically a pub, and it was run by somebody from Ireland. So she was very, very different in how she referred to things. So like they refer to things as pints too and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Pub, so, what do you call it?
Pints, and so it definitely was a pub.
Yeah. So what do you call them pints as well, though? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people call it pints. I mean, more of the people that I'm around that call it, I mean, I call it that, but lots of people it's because I'm around lots of people that call it that. Otherwise, people just go, give me a beer. Can I get a beer? Can I get a beer? And they go, do you want a glass? That's how they.
I think it's it's funny though, because the UK, England, and I'm obviously from the north as well, so I'm a Geordie. Very much I'm not a heavy drinker, I'm not an alcoholic or anything like that, but we do like a drink, and it could be sad that all these pubs are shut. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I mean, Irish too, I mean, but yeah, everybody gets stereotyped as being like, alcoholics, but actually that we bring that up, it's actually...
We just like a drink.
No, it's funny we're bringing that up because we also have two advocates that are also sober, and they're addiction specialists, among many other things.
Sure.
They were on live, as you saw, Jennifer Jimenez and her husband, Tim Ryan. And they're public speakers. He wrote a book. She's an actress, a model. Blah, blah. I mean, their resumes are both very fabulous and long. And they talked about pandemics within pandemics, because there's a lot of people abusing drugs and overdosing, committing suicide. There's mental health issues that are on the rise.
Oh my God, yeah, so much.
There's alcoholism that people are either turning towards alcoholism, and that's they're becoming alcoholics, or they're what's the word I'm looking for when you they're I can't think of the word, is like when you slip up. There's a
relapse.
Relapse, thank you. I couldn't think of it. See, brain not working. Sorry. A lot of people are relapsing. Because I think they can't handle it, the isolation, and it's causing a lot of mental. I mean, look, it's taking a toll of mental health on all of us, to be honest with you.
Oh my God, so much.
And I mean, for me, my anxiety is not through the roof as much as I thought it would be, but I've learned over the years to calm it down and how to deal with it and handle it. Obviously I've had it since I was a teenager, so it's like you it's not that it's cured, it's just you live with it, and you do tools, you use like meditation, yoga, I use a lot of things to work with it, but depression on and off has set in, sadness. I've gone through a lot of major major things and life changes, grief, loss.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, so have a lot of other people, and I've seen it all around. I've seen my friends go through it. I've seen strangers go through it. I mean, we're all suffering in this pandemic, but at the same time, there's so much. There is positive that we have to see in it, and I know sometimes people don't like when people say that, but it's like, but you have to, and it's like there's always a silver lining in everything, even in death and anything. There's always a positive that comes out of it. There's always you got to look and see, what are we trying to learn? What lessons need to be learned here? What do we have to see? Like somebody said to me, do you think, was it you? Somebody said to me, no, it wasn't. I don't think it was. Somebody asked me if I thought bullying was, when I did the show, for the Bully Effect, if I thought, when she asked me to be a guest, if I thought that bullying was on the rise more because of the pandemic. I said everything is on the rise more right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? I mean, don't you agree? I mean, I've seen the same amount of bullshit, but I've also seen a lot of new bullshit.
Yeah, it's not just that though, Dana. I think as well it's a rise of everything, not just the bad, but also the good.
Yeah.
There's like every aspect within, mental health, alcoholism. Then you flip on the other side and positivity and friendships and family and all this sort of stuff. So everything's sort of like on the rise all over. But I think it's such a big yo-yo that people have found it hard to sort of grasp and deal with. I think I've like I mentioned before at the very beginning, I dealt with it I found it quite difficult. Me and you have touched on this very slightly in the past before, but obviously I've suffered from a lot of anxiety before in the past, and I've dealt with it and made myself being able to control it. But there is occasions where I will completely go suffer from I read about anxiety throughout the day, and there's just no calming you down. There's just no controlling it. Absolutely not. And during this time when we're in the home and you can't get up and go or anything like that, that's hard. But then you go on the next day, and you could have a really good day, and it's such a high because this pandemic has increased everything that it's very hard to control.
Absolutely.
So yes, definitely. So for people that can't control it, that's who I worry about as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good time for them. It really isn't.
It isn't, and it's a hard time for extroverts, I think, as well too. I mean, I have a lot of introvert friends. Well, I mean, I have some. I mean, I would have to say, I don't know. I mean, my friend is ship circle, and my friends are a huge diverse thing, but huge diverse circle. But I mean, I have an introvert friends. I'd probably say more extrovert, but the introvert friends I do have, they always laugh because they're like, yeah, this is an introvert's dream because, we don't do anything anyway. And it's like, no, but, when you are told that you can't, then you want to do stuff. So, that's the extrovert coming out in you now because they are starting to get a little antsy. As much as, as much as they can, to be a homebody, when you feel like you're doing it too much and you can't travel and you can't do all these things and you're being told you can't or you're worried, then your kind of extrovert side comes out, and it might even, change them a little bit. And make them more social or want to be, out and about, so that's also, sometimes could be a positive, but I think, I've seen a rise of good as in, I've had more human interaction with people's voices and their faces than I think I have ever had in a long time because we're so used to just being busy and not giving each other enough time that we're texting. We're texting, and it's like, okay, but I'm from a generation I want to talk on the phone, man. I want to see your face. Especially if they're far away or we're not in the same state. I mean, I want to see your face. I want to hear your voice. I don't want to just text. And when you want to have a lengthy conversation, or you want to get something out, and you need to text a 15-page novel just to get the story out, and it's like, okay, I'm just. If we don't want to talk, then I'm sending you a damn audio recording because I am not typing all this. It's like, I'm not. It's like, I could write a book by the time.
You sent me one. You sent me one, yeah.
Yeah,
you sent me one the other week.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. I'll be like, hey, let's just do some audios back and forth instead because it's so much easier. I don't have to and we're gonna get carpal tunnel. I mean, I think I've had carpal tunnel for years, but. I mean, all that texting is not good for your muscle, your finger, you can get so many different things trigger finger. I used to work for an OT. I used to run an OT office. Can you tell? You can get trigger finger. You can get carpal tunnel. You can get this. You can get that. You can get all these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think I've had it for years, like a slight, version of it. But and it's not good to just sit there and do all that texting. It's really not. Just like it's not good to like stare at a phone screen all day. But we do it. We stare at computers, then we stare at TVs when we go home, or our phones. And, I always get nervous that, like, oh my God, I have blurry vision, I'm double vision, but there's my anxiety coming in, and all of a sudden my anxiety will come in, and I'm like, I have to go to the hospital because I'm having, like, something's wrong, and I'm seeing double, and my vision is blurry, and my friend's like, first of all, allergies can do that. Second of all, you've been staring at a screen for, like, 8 hours. They're like, you don't go outside that much, you like being in the dark, and I'm like, yeah, okay, shut up now, I get it, I'm fine.
So we had this issue today actually because Jess has noticed that I've been on my phone a lot more than normal. Obviously, with the time you're talking to your family members, you're on social media, you're talking to your friends that I've got, friends that live around the corner, and I've also got friends that obviously live all around the world. So I'm talking to people a lot, and I'm talking to people a lot more, like you said, because you're not at work, you're not. You're not busy, you've got time for that. So Jess noticed it today, and she's mentioned it a few times, and she's like, are you going to talk to us? Are you just going to have your phone in your hand? I'm like, yeah, you're right here. I need to talk to my wife, sort of thing, I need to make more time, really. But yeah, it's, I found myself talking to a lot more people more, which is a good thing.
But I think we need to hold to that. I think we need to remember this even when this is over, that no more texting constantly all the time. Let's actually pick up a phone right now. Let's actually, on the weekends, let's make sure we pick up the phone. Even during the week, if somebody needs to talk. Even when I'm working, I will be on the phone for my friend at 2 o'clock in the morning if they need me, because that's just how I am.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I think we need to keep hey, let's do lives every now and then. Let's make people laugh. Why not? I mean, maybe somebody's having a bad day. There doesn't need to be a pandemic to do these things.
No, not at all.
We're just now all going, hey, I've always done lives of Bullies Keep Out, but I mean, me and Sean were doing them, as you know, on my own personal, and people were loving it. They were getting a kick out of it. They were laughing. Now, I've had some things going on in my life, and, personally, and then, Sean and everybody else that, so some people have like, oh, what happened to the lives? And it's like, oh, sometimes you just need to take that break when you've been doing it for a while. We were doing it every week for a while, and it's like, sometimes when things are happening, you just you're not in that mode. And it's like, if you're not in that mode...
sometimes you're doing it every night.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not in that mode, you can't really do anything for anybody, because you're kind of just going to sit there like a lump, and you're not going to give off the right energy. So I definitely don't want to give off my sad energy if I'm sad that day, or people were asking me if I was okay because of Bella, in the live last night, and I was trying not to really talk about it too much, because I'll start talking about it, and I always say, there's no crying in baseball. I'm not a person that ever cries. I always say that. People are like, you lie, you cry. And I said, look, here's the thing with crying. I don't do it in front of people. I said, and I really always, I try to be the strong person, the strongest for everybody. Nobody sees me cry. It's a weakness. That's what I was always meant to feel like and growing up. And it's I learned very quickly by my ex and somebody that came into my life when I was around 16 as a mother figure. And then but then it only happened when I drank. And then everything would come out. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not good. You can't just have depression come out when you drink, because that's just going to lead to bad things. I mean, especially when you have alcoholism in your family. So it's no.
Yeah.
And I did that for a lot of years. It was my anger and my sadness came out when I was drinking. Instead of being happy and having a nice time, I was depressed and angry and sad. And I was nobody's going to see me cry. There were very few people that ever saw it. So it's I would never, so my grandmother. My grandmother that passed, the last one that obviously I had two, but one died when she was 75 years ago, and then one at 90, and she was the one to die after my other grandmother. That doesn't make sense. All right, so anyway, regardless, my one grandmother, this is called quarantine, this is called,
it's quarantine brain.
Quarantine, the sad brain.
So,
when she was one of the strongest women I've ever met. She was
sorry to interrupt. Is this the one that you shared a photograph of with Bella?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes, when I said that they were together now.
Sure.
So she was this little, as you saw in that picture. She was this little Italian, small little thing. And then my other Italian grandmother, total opposite. We were I'm tall and she was tall. It's hilarious how opposite, but. Um, it's funny because I love that picture, and I found it and I was scrolling through my pictures, and like Bella, it looks like she's smiling in that picture, so I love that picture. But
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
Okay, so the reason what I was talking about where my brain lost function for a minute there is that my grandmother, we also Italian heritage, referred to as Nona. Sometimes, I mean, I love that word, and I didn't use it a ton, but I mean, once in a while. But and when I got older too. But she was such a strong woman. I don't think I've ever seen a tear fall out of her eye. And if it did, she did it behind closed doors. So like when people always say to me like, "Or how do you get through things and you're not crying?" and it's like because I've just
you get it from your granny.
I don't know. I get things from my grandmothers for some reason, and I don't know. I have this thing where I feel like I have to hold it in and be strong for the whole universe. And then people have, and then I learned that crying is not a weakness, but I've always felt like ashamed of it, or like, oh no, I can't let people see, they're gonna think I'm weak. I don't want people to see me do this. So it's like but sometimes people could tell like the breaking in my voice, or like I would stop for a second, or I would be like, hold on. And like they're not stupid. They were like, we're not stupid, right? Like we know that you're upset because you're talking about something that you're upset about. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm fine. But it's like even when my grandfather died, like I held her hand and I was with her the whole, like her eyes were red, but there was never a tear that I saw fall down. And I have no doubt this woman did it by herself in her room or when nobody was seeing or looking at her, because she was like a matriarch almost. And she was like, like big on the grandkids and the family, and like I don't know, she just was a strong woman that like you never like. I guess when you've been through so much back in the years, our grandparents went through tons of stuff, and I don't know, she was just incredibly. I mean, and then the opposite of my other grandmother, where she sometimes would let you see it, but not really. Like there was only a few times, and it would have to be something like when my grandfather died. I was like peeking through. In the few, they wouldn't let me go in. I was so young, and like, but I saw her like just like scream and cry, and she fell on him. When they had the wake, and then the only other time is when she was gonna die, when she was gonna pass away, and she was sick. She had breast cancer, and then she was good for like 5 or 6 years, and then it had spread, and she knew she wasn't gonna get better, and like she was visiting me when I lived in Florida at the time, and I wasn't divorced yet. And she just grabbed my hand and just like was like hysterical, and she's like, "Who's gonna take care of my baby when I'm not here?" And I'm just looking at her, and I'm like, "You're gonna make me that." And even then I was like almost like holding everything. I mean, my ex was crying more than I was.
Yeah.
But, and she's like, "Oh, but you have Okarab," because like she knew that our family was broken, and that like I couldn't rely on the people that I needed to rely on, and like she didn't know like full story of everything, but most of it, a lot of it, and or some of it, but she just knew, like, she knew that, like, I needed someone there for me for support and love, and that, and even though she was strong and she wasn't, like, the mushy type, she was a good grandmother, and I adored her.
Sure.
And, she had her moments. I mean, nobody's perfect, but I'm just saying, like, I think she knew in her heart, like, oh my God, she was worried about me. And, like, anytime I used to think about that or tell that story, my friend was like, I can tell that you're, like, so holding in. And I was like, but they were the only times that ever happened is, like, if we're out and, like you said, at the pub and you're, like, having drinks. And I'm like, don't talk about any of this stuff. You're not allowed to talk about any of this stuff when we're having drinks, because it's just going to turn into me being sad. And then it's like...
Yeah, it's just a norm, though. You have a drink and you have a couple of drinks with your mates. Like, if someone starts talking about something emotional, it ends up being this big emotional heart-to-heart. There's tears, everyone's hugging, everyone tells everyone how much they love each other. That's
You're
that's
right.
like...
I love you, I love you, I love you.
And then you go to the bathroom, and then you end up standing in the bathroom for 20 minutes talking to these random people, like, telling them how much you love them, and then, it's just like, that's what happens in pubs.
That's exactly what used to happen when we used to go to the Irish Cottage. It was just constant, like, all night till, like, 3 o'clock in the morning. People loving each other, kissing, hugging, hitting on each other, talking to strangers.
The best conversations are in the bathroom.
87 phone numbers.
Guaranteed.
87 phone numbers in your phone the next day that you don't remember now who one was. You're like, who are all these people? All these new friends on Facebook. All these crazy pictures and shots, of people that, like, you're like, what is this?
I know, it's so funny. I miss it. Honestly, we need to get together, like, really, like, when this whole thing, like, ends, and if you ever come up to the UK, we need to do it. And if I go over there, like we need to go out and have a few drinks because I think it's going to be a good night.
Yeah, no, I mean, you might have to come to me first because with my, depending on where I can fly, being immune deficient, I mean, I don't really know if my doctor's going to be like, yeah, fly internationally, so you might come here before I come there. But I definitely want to come to the UK.
Yeah, I've already told Sean that I'll be a personal guide around the better parts of the UK.
And sure. I also have to see my BFF and then my new BFF coming.
Oh, yes. Yes, you do. For sure.
I feel so bad because I keep leaving the white diva out, but I love her too.
Oh, she's her own little person though, little Rosie, man. She just keeps herself to herself. She knows that everyone loves her. No one needs to tell her. She just knows it. So don't worry about that. But yeah, it's my 40th next year, and it's Jess's 30th. So we were going to plan on having like a big trip somewhere.
Wait, what's the difference between you guys?
It's 9 years and 8 months.
Okay, so you're going to be 40.
Yeah, the same year. She's 30.
Oh, wow, so you guys have a little bit different. Okay, so...
Yeah, we do.
So you're only... I'm going to be 41 in July. And so you're not that much... You're not that much younger than me.
No, so I'm September 81.
Okay.
1981,
I'm 79, so almost 2 years, maybe almost close like that.
I would probably say a year and a half or something.
Yeah, year and a half. Yeah, okay. I didn't know that there was an age gap like that between you two.
Yeah,
not that it matters. I just didn't know that there was.
No, not at all. I think the benefit for me is that I don't look my age.
Yeah,
and that's not me blowing my own trumpet. Like, I really do not look my own... Everyone that meets us, like, you're never, like, 30... Well, I'm 39 in September.
No, same thing. They're like, when I tell people I'm going to be 41, they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, because I just love to lie about that.
Yeah. But, it's a bit of an age difference, but, it works, so that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, so you guys should take a big trip to New York. Hint, hint.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try to... I've got one of my best mates and my family live in Chicago. So I need to go back there, and I really want to go to LA. I want to go back to Florida. You know, I just want to go back all over there because it's
funny because a couple of the places that you're mentioning, I have to go to. I have to go to Orlando to see some Ohana. Ohana means family, chosen family. I have over there, like my nieces. They're also advocate. Everybody knows the little mini Regals. Those are like my nieces, and Linda and Andy are like family. So we're all like family. So I call them a fam bam. They're Ohana. So like I was supposed to go see them in April, and it was a surprise for the kids. So hopefully they don't listen to this. But and it's still a surprise because anytime I go, like, I'm going to surprise them. It's still going to be a surprise. But we had this planned, and it was so sad that I couldn't go. And then LA, I want to get back to LA.
Yeah, sure.
Because I really desperately wanted to go for my birthday this year, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to travel anywhere this year. I don't think it... Because honestly, where are we going to travel and go do anything? If nothing is open and you can't do stuff, there's nothing to do. I don't want to waste money to just go sit and do nothing. So for me, it's like, if things are open...
11 miles today.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we actually drove 11 miles today because we heard that Starbucks was open again, the drive-thru. So we drove to Starbucks and got a coffee and drove home.
You drove 11 miles to get a Starbucks.
Yep. I certainly did.
Well, I guess it's something to do. It's something to do, man.
Well, it was. We ended up being out the house for about 2 hours.
What did you guys go do? Like, the big trips now is, what did you guys go do today? We went to Starbucks! And it took like 2 hours, and we had so much fun. But you know what that means? Look at how much we're appreciating little, ridiculous, silly things, though.
Well, exactly. Well, we're on the way up, because where that Starbucks drive-thru is, there's a huge, like, shopping place called the Metro Centre. It's like a mall, like, over there. And so, as we were driving up, me and Jess both said to each other, it's like, I really miss our date days, because we used to go to, like, on a Sunday, we used to go into town and, go for your sushi and then go a bit shopping and then come home. So we haven't done it since, like, February. Like, we really miss it. So this today was kind of like, we left the dogs at home because we needed some time by ourselves, and we drove up and obviously got a coffee and then, like, drove back along the coast route on the way back. So it was nice, you know what I mean? But you're right. You got to appreciate it now. It's like, it was such a really good couple of hours out. and it's really hot here at the minute as well. So the weather is helping.
And she also picked
everyone
up some stuff for my package of UK stuff that I'm supposed to.
Oh my god, yeah.
I like that. People are probably like, what the hell are they talking about? I bust her chops on it because she yelled at me for drinking all these different types of tea. And she's like, I'm sending you a bunch of stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to wait for it. I still don't have it, but I'm wait. She's like, I'm going to send you all this cool stuff we have in the UK. And I'm like, awesome, because I always tell people, hey, I'll send you stuff when I can actually leave the house. I was like, if you want stuff from New York, I'll send you stuff from New York. You send me stuff from where you live, and we'll just send things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've had a couple of friends, they were like, I don't want anything, but I'm going to send you stuff. And I'm like, how could you not want anything? It's New York. They're like, well, the stuff that I want, you can't ship. You can't ship me a hot dog or a pretzel. I'm like, well, that's true. It's going to taste like crap. I was like, I can't ship you a pretzel. I was like, but, I mean, if you want, like, you know, well, and then my friend, I forgot, what the hell, where does she live? Anyway, she was like, well, I could buy stuff online. And I'm like, fine, you know what? Send me whatever you want. I'm gonna send you crap then. And I was like, you know, I don't know what to tell you. But
I've already got the box ready to fill. So I've got the box now. So I just need to fill it with all the stuff
got the
and
box,
send it over to you.
Okay, guys, she got the box with nothing in it.
Yep. It's a start.
The box is here. I even have the shipping label. I have your address, the box. I have everything that I need, and to ship it, I just don't have the stuff to actually put in the box.
I tell you what, I'm gonna do it on Monday. I'm going to go to the shops on Monday and I'm going to fill it up and I'll send it on Monday.
But no, it's funny because I've seen like a lot of people during this quarantine sharing, like sending little stuff to people in care packages. I mean, I have had a friend and also supporters are the ones who made me a while back. She's a nerdy paper artist and she makes these beautiful portraits and stuff out of paper. And she made one of Bella for me a while back, and and Haley sent me something for Bella, and she's like, "Oh, something's gonna be coming to you. Expect it." And I'm like, "You don't have to do that." And she's like, "We want to do something good. We know we don't have to." Just like she's like, everybody's giving me this big speech when I tell them they don't have to do it. And then it was really a beautiful little thing. It's this beautiful, like, wooden, like, plaque, and it says this nice little thing, and then it's got dog prints on it, and then you can
kind That's so cute.
You could put a little, I mean, I think you saw it on my story. You could put a little...
I did, yeah, it was really nice, yeah.
You could put a little picture, and, you know, it's very, very sweet. I have to, you know, print out a picture.
It's really thoughtful.
Yeah, I mean, we have everything in our phones, so I have a Polaroid machine that I can actually print out a picture, so I'll have to do that. But, yeah, you know, I mean, people are doing, like, amazing things for each other.
They really are.
I think that we're getting more kinder in a lot of ways, even though in a lot of ways we're seeing unkind stuff. But unfortunately, with a lot of tragedies happening and chaos, you know, and serious things going on that we have to fight for. But, you know, I also think we're seeing a lot of giving and supporting and giving back and people getting more involved and people, like, really checking on their friends more and doing special things. Like, I always did stuff like that. I always did stuff like that. And I don't think, you know, sadly, you know, a lot of people feel like, oh, it took a pandemic for us to see these things. And it's like, yeah, you know, and it's like, even though I used to do that so much, I admit too, I did stop doing that. Like, I would always do special things for my friends, surprise them, surprise parties, and nobody did things like that for me. And they were like, but that doesn't make sense. You're saying here they're good friends, and I'm like, they are good friends. But that's just the way, and that doesn't mean they're like me. I do those things for people because I like to do things for people. I don't need my friends to do that for me. I was like, plus, I don't know, they knew that I would always be like, you don't have to do this. I don't do that. They knew that I always fought them. And then I had a friend one time, like, want to slap me upside the head because she said, would you just let people do nice things for you? Because maybe they you know, they don't want to throw you a surprise this or that because they know you're going to go, you didn't have to do this. Don't do it. Blah, blah. You know, and it's like, you know, she's like, people want to do things, but they know that you are very, like, not in a bad way, but because I don't want them to go out of their way for me because she feels like, she's like, you don't feel like you're good enough to get those things. And she gave me this entire speech. And at the end of it, you know, I couldn't really deny that she was wrong. Yeah. I mean, that she wasn't wrong. Sorry, that she wasn't wrong in the way that, like, I felt like, why do I feel like I'm not good enough to get these things or have people do things for me or nice things or, you know.
You need to feel good enough for it,
Yeah, but, like, I was always the type, like, people say, like, you do things that are nice, not expecting things in return. Like, oh, not I do this or you do this. You scratch my back, I don't think like that. I want to give without expecting like, well, hey, because yeah, we could all sit there and go, well, I did this for people. Why don't people do this for me? Well, why didn't my friend do this for me? I did this for them. And then that's basically what we'll have. We'll have a back and forth of everybody wondering why their friends are not doing that for them, but they're doing things for their friends. People have to want to do things. You shouldn't have to ask them to.
No, not at all. Look, I think as nice as it is to receive things and get nice things, I'm on the same page as you. I don't do things to receive anything. Like, never have, never will. Like it comes to show, like, I would do all these things for my friends, and I'm very sort of a strong person in that sort of sense. But yeah, I would never expect anything back, never. So I get that, but it's nice to receive nice things though.
Right, but did you ever get in that mode too though? Because then I've gotten in that mode a couple times. I've let myself slip into that mode where I was like, but it's also nice to have that cheerleading. Yeah. It's also nice to have that support and cheerleading back. And then sometimes you did sit back and you did fall into that. Well, why? Yeah. Why is this not coming back to me in any way? Why am I everybody's biggest cheerleader? And my friend, he said that one time. He's like, I'm just tired of being everybody's cheerleader, and where are they for me? And like, is that a real friend? And it was an interesting conversation because it's like, I don't really think it means people are not real friends. I think everybody has just different busyness in their heads. They don't mean to forget, they do. And it's like, I think that you could tell who the real friends are and who are not, and who that's just who they are. They're just not those type of people. And I don't really think that means they're not good friends. But in a sense, you could also understand that in his point of view, where you're always cheering people on, supporting, and then you try to sit there and figure out, okay, well, where is all that from the people in my life? Like, you see other people doing it for other people, and it's like, well, what the hell? What about my group of people? What about my friends? And then you see strangers doing it more than the people that you have in your life, and it's like, and I've had people pose that question to me and ask me how I felt about it or what I thought because they felt this, and it's like, well, I think our minds have all gone there. I truly think, I mean, I'm not going to deny that my mind has not gone there, like, when I was in my, younger days, and even sometimes we default to it now, like, well, not expecting something back, but just always wondering, like, you're always cheerleading, and even, like, you have some people doing it, where are the rest of your supposed tribe and people that, or that you're supporting people, and it's like, people always say how they believe in giving back and all this stuff and supporting each other, and it's like, but it seems like somebody said that it seems like a very one-way street a lot of the time, and I said, you know what, this is the thing. It can be, but you have to decide, like, that doesn't make a person bad. That doesn't make them not a good friend. Like, they could be a great person and a good friend. You cannot just say, well, they're not a good friend. You have to really examine that person. If they're not a good friend, then they're not a good friend, but that's not going to be the reason they're not a good friend. There's going to be
You'll find out the reason,
there's going to be other things behind it. It's not just going to be because they didn't share your whatever while you shared their stuff, or you didn't, you bought them a gift and they didn't buy you a gift for your birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do things because you want to do them because that's who you are, and that's why I do stuff. I don't do shit expecting anything back because I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I'm just too generous. Yeah, I'm very generous.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, of course, yes, it's nice to have the cheerleading. It's nice to have support. It's nice to have that stuff back. But I don't require it, and I don't base my friendships on it. I base it on if they're good people, and if they're good humans, and if they're like the type of people that I want to surround myself as far as energy and all that good stuff, and who you want to surround yourself with. That's what I care about more. Not if their minds are all over the place because they're always so busy that they didn't do 1,800 things that I did. Because, again, we're all very different. And it doesn't make someone bad because, like, they didn't spend $200 on your birthday, but you spent $200 on them. That was your choice. If you choose to do things for people, that is on you and that is your choice. You do not expect anything back. And I see a lot of that entitlement. Like, oh my God, I spent so much, and it's people that are not even friends with people, or they don't know them that well, and they're pitching, they're having a tantrum about it, and it's like, you can't be yelling at people and being mean and throwing tantrums about something that it's like, well, I went out of my way, I worked so hard, and it's like, okay, but nobody told you to do it, and nobody asked you to do it. You have to do things because you want to do things and support your friends or support whatever it is that you're doing that you're upset about. Not because you think somebody owes you something because you did something. Nobody owes us
Exactly.
anything. I don't owe you nothing. You don't owe me nothing. Nobody owes us anything. The only time people maybe owe each other is like, okay, you saved my life. I'm be like, I owe you, girl. I owe you.
Yeah.
You know, of course I owe
Yeah.
you if you saved my life. Like if I was drowning and you saved my life, yeah, of course I owe you. I'm gonna be like, but in a sense, if I save someone's life, I'm gonna tell them, no, you don't owe me. I saved your life. You
Nah,
don't
no
owe
one
me.
should owe anyone anything.
But
yeah,
you know what I'm
you're
trying
right.
to say? You know what I'm getting at? Like,
No, I do. I totally get it.
there's
I
probably
do.
exceptions where people are like, you know what, man, I owe you one. I owe you one. And of course, we all
Yeah.
say that. I've said that. Like, I owe you one. You need something,
Yeah.
you just ask. That's normal. But to
I mean, I do owe you a box from the UK.
You do owe me that, and I expected that. Otherwise, just gonna put you in that bad friend box and be like, nope, she owe me, and I'm not getting that.
Oh God, I don't want to be in the bad friend box. No way.
I don't have a bad friend box because I don't have friends that are bad. But if they do, they're not in my life. But I'll
Same.
be like,
no, I
yeah,
get it.
no,
I do. I understand.
She owes me. So everybody, if the next podcast we do, if I don't have a box, then we have to say she owes me. That's. But see, but that right there, that's not. But see, in all seriousness, no, but that's like entitlement, and I can't stand entitlement.
I know, I
disrespect. Is disrespect and entitlement because, like I said again, you choose to do things from your heart, not because you feel forced, not because you want attention or something in return from those people in your life or whatever. I mean, we have to learn that we have to not live by that creed of, again, entitlement and expecting things in return for what people do for us or what we do for other people. It just doesn't work that way, guys.
Yeah.
But
I think as well though, Dana, I think with this whole pandemic that's been going on and all the lockdown, I think there has, like it says, there has been a lot of people that have been very generous to people, and I see people not expecting it back, and you know, and I think that's been quite another positive, I think, as well.
Yeah, I've seen it less. I mean, I still see it, but not as much. I mean, I think people are being a little bit more calm because there's also so many other things going on. People's minds are concentrated on other things, and people have decided to be less petty, which is good, and hopefully all these things stick. I mean, a lot of people, and including myself, fear that we're going to go back to the same old ways, and hopefully we do not.
Yeah.
I know I will not. I know I will not be.
Yeah.
I know I will not be. I cannot speak for the rest of the world, but I think a lot of people plan on not going back, but you never know because, you know, it's like one of those sayings, you know how you say you're going to do something and you never get to it. You know, and it's like, are we going to say this and say that and then never do it, you know?
Well, exactly. The thing is with myself as well, though, is that me and Jess came into this pandemic, you know, we're going to leave it completely different. And obviously, you know yourself what's happening with me and Jess at the moment. Yeah. You know, our lives are completely changing over the next sort of 6 to 7 months. Right. And, you know, I don't want to go back to the similar, same sort of ways that we were or the way that we acted or, you know, I want to stick to still speaking to loads of people and, you know, it's a new, take it as a reset button, you know.
It's like a new era. It's like when a new decade came into play. It's like, okay, let's just start it over.
It's like the world's sort of like
let's really start it over. Let's really start it over. We're gonna just hit a whole new decade. We're just gonna hit the reset button.
It's like the world's just like looked at this big red button and went, I wonder what that is. Let me just press it a second. You know, they pressed it. And the world just stopped for like 3 months, and it's like slowly. I mean, you know, climate change and
the only thing I want to see go back to normal is I want to see. I want the hugs and kisses and being close to go back to normal.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I want us to be able to go out without masks. I want us to be able to enjoy a Broadway show and not have to feel that we have to sit 18 miles apart from each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, when I don't want like that stuff. I don't want to have to. I want to go back to normal. And you know, people are saying, "Oh, we're going to stay like this forever." I'm like, when it's all said and done, you don't have to stay like that forever. I mean, when the influenza, the Spanish flu, all that stuff, everything didn't stay like that. It eventually went back to how we were until now. Like, there's a commercial. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if it's in the UK. It's a woman who is 100, and she says, she goes, "We can get through this. We're strong." She was born during the influenza pandemic.
Right.
She's 100. She was born through the influenza pandemic, and she said, my mother had me while we were in quarantine. We were in quarantine for many months, and then we came into a new world, and we survived it, and I'm still here, and I survived, and she survived, and you could do this, and we're going to get through this.
It's amazing.
That is the most hopeful commercial that I've seen so far, because I was like, look at this. This was a baby born during the quarantine. In quarantine when she was born. They were in quarantine for many months through an influenza pandemic, which was when this, like, the whole influenza, when the whole thing started before coronavirus, SARS, and all the other mutations.
That's right,
the whole flu pandemic, which is a major pandemic because, like, the flu is still around and it's seasonal. But look at what she was in, and she's 100. So they made it through. They were okay. She was a baby. She's 100 now. The mother obviously was okay up until she, got older. And, because she's 100 now, the child, so obviously the mother's not alive. But it was just such a hopeful commercial of her saying, like, we're going to, like, come out of this. Like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be strong, and we can get through this. And
I think it will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it will.
I think it's going to end. We just don't know when everything's going to get back to that normalcy that we're looking for. Not the new normal that we're looking forward to, but the normalcy that we need as far as humans, as far as hugging and not being afraid to. But I mean, even people are talking about even acting and stuff. Like, how is that going to be done right now? Because, I mean, even until a vaccine comes out and is successful, nothing's going to be normal right now. It's going to be social distancing, masks, because they're going to recommend that until either it disappears, there's treatment that works, or there's a vaccine. So all we could do is hope by the end of the year there's some good things that happen to where we don't feel so worried about, like, okay, if I get it, there's no treatment, there's no or I can go get a vaccine, and I can't wait for that, because, like, for the immunocompromised and high risks, they're gonna still feel a little bit like a prisoner, because we have to still be careful what the heck we do. Not that everybody does. I mean, there's plenty of healthy people that got it and did not fare well, and that were miserable, or that sad and tragically passed away. It's like this quarantine is just wow. But I mean, you gotta mourn all those lives and all those people. And people are like, oh well, during the flu season this happens all the time. Yes, okay, it does, but not in a 2-month period where you have hundreds of thousands.
You can't compare it.
It's not comparable in that way, because it's not in a short period of time. Like, here's in a month, and all these people tragically passed, and it's just it's not comparable. It's horrible, but we have to try to, like, again, still see the silver lining and learn how to speak, apparently, and because I think we're obviously getting towards the end of this podcast where I have to stop speaking. I mean, obviously that's a sign where I should probably stop talking.
I like to call this pandemic the situation. That's what I call it. Yeah. That's what I called it the other day. It's definitely the situation.
Well, we've been talking for like an hour, so I mean, we're gonna have plenty of time to do these now that we're gonna be co-hosting. Yay, you guys are gonna have fun. Because we're gonna have funny ones. We're gonna have funny ones to make you laugh too. Because I like to break it up. I believe we have to have laughter. We can't just have all seriousness.
Oh no, definitely. We should.
Even when you're talking about bullying, like even when I publicly spoke, you gotta throw in something in there, like, for funny and laughing to break it up. You can't just... Nobody wants to listen to just, like, horrid sadness the whole entire time.
Oh, God, no. I couldn't cope with that anyway. I'd have to just hang up.
You'd be like, okay, thank you for having me. Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Girl, bye.
Girl, I can't talk about this no more. I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. I'm done. It's like, so you gotta make people, like, laugh. Like, see, people ask me, like, what happened to the bullying chat? Like, you guys are having so much fun and they love it. But I'm like, the bullying chat didn't go anywhere. It's just we're breaking it up and trying to help people through this right now. And, like, a lot of people, we've talked about it in there still. And we've talked about serious things. But right now, the goal of our lives and our hope chats are to get people to escape from everything for a little bit and just, like, forget about it.
And get through this.
And just get through it. And it's not that we're not saying bullying is not going on still. I mean, we're still talking about it. We're still addressing it. But we're just, but right now, we're just trying to get people that when I've said, like, they want to laugh. They want to forget about things for a while. And that's what we're giving them. So, it's not that the bullying chat went anywhere. It's coming back soon. It's just that, for a while, people needed to just have some fun and laughs and enjoy people that they like and admire and have some inspiration and motivation and, talk about things that were positive and a little, yes, like I said, we touched on the COVID and bullying and all types of topics, but we also mostly just wanted people to feel like we were all sitting in a room together having a drink or eating dinner. So, having a drink except for the minors. The minors weren't having drinks.
Definitely. On the next podcast, I'll have a pint, and you should get yourself a beer or something.
Yeah, I'll see if my doctor's gonna let me have one. He's gonna be like, no.
I'll have and for the younger ones, I'll have a glass of water next to it as well. So I'll do it for everyone.
Well, I mean, I think that I think on thinners because I can't go off them yet because until I could check my D-dimer, I mean, then I might be able to go off them as long as the D-dimer stays good. But I think on thinners you can still have like a couple. You just got to be careful because I'm a klutz, and if I fall, I don't need to be internally bleeding. So,
no, exactly, yeah.
So that's the only thing that they concern about drinking is like when you're on thinners and you're drinking, it's like, don't get all like loopy to where like you fall and hit your head because that's gonna be a trip to the hospital and that's the last place you want to go right now.
Definitely.
So it's like I'm a klutz already. Like I'll have 2 beers because I haven't had one in like I think over a year with everything going on with my medical stuff. I'll have 2 beers and fall over and crack my head open.
No, please don't do that. I couldn't call.
No, I'm making a joke. That wouldn't happen. I know how to hold alcohol as an Italian, but when you haven't drank in a long time, it's not best to overdo it. Definitely.
I must admit that's the one thing that I haven't done that much in this lockdown. Obviously, just before we go, like I haven't drank that much. I thought I would, to be honest. I thought I'd be like bored and go around. I'm gonna have a few drinks, but I haven't really that much. Some people have. I must have, at the very beginning, I probably had a few.
You did, because we had some conversations that were pretty interesting.
Yeah, I did, actually, yeah.
In the beginning,
so just totally ignore, just edit that out.
In the beginning, I was like, okay, all right, you need to chill out a little bit, stop partying, but I think that everybody just was like, woohoo at the beginning, because they didn't realize it was going to be so serious, and it was like, time off, no work, but look, back in my day, it was like, back in like, when I was in my 20s, man, this pandemic, I would have been like, having a party throughout the whole thing. I would have been like, yeah, let's have drinks. Woohoo! Let's have drinks and FaceTime. And I'll be doing it by myself in my room with people on FaceTime.
Yeah, back in the first week.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I might have done that, and even maybe in my 30s, but now it's like, nah, man, as you get older, that stuff just starts to get old, and, I mean, I'm not a big drinker anymore, and it's like, I do enjoy my cold beers or a nice drink or wine, sulfides. I'm allergic to sulfa, so I got to be careful with wine. Even though it's Italian, I love wine.
Right.
But, I mean, you love to have good drinks, but it's like you just have to, you just want to have like a few and that's it. Like, you don't want to go crazy and go overboard and then wake up the next day and be like, oh my God, I feel like, garbage.
No, I get that. So, I do. I get that.
So, sure. I mean, we had a nice chat of our, lots of good stuff in this one. Lots of different things. Pubs. They're probably like, why are they talking about drinking? Listen, this is in quarantine. We also were talking about the seriousness of over drinking. So it was just, that's why the topic came up. Because it's like, it's okay to have fun, but it's not okay to like, develop any bad habits that you can't get out of during this quarantine. So we want to make sure that that's the message we're also trying to stress. It's okay to have drinks if you're of age and have fun and enjoy it a little bit and have fun in the quarantine, but it's not okay to
do it in moderation,
responsibly, moderation.
Be responsible, sure.
I mean, there's a pandemic again. Once again, there's several pandemics within this pandemic, so it's important. I said, by the time this airs, I mean, things might be very different, but I mean, either way, it's still going to be a relevant podcast. So thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe to us. We could be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google, all over the place. I mean, I don't even know all the sites, but I know there's several sites that we could be found at, podcast sites. Give us a review, give us 5 stars. Tune into episode 25. Kat will be back. Thank you, Kat, for jumping on board.
No problem. Thank you so much for letting me be part of it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna have some good podcasts now because now everybody doesn't have to just listen to my boring voice the whole time. They get to listen to both our voices. But actually, it'll be a little bit more fun because even though I talk about important topics, it's always nice to have different point of view. Also, a different point of view of somebody from out of the U.S. And you technically have two LGBTQ opinions because I'm on the spectrum, she's on the spectrum in different aspects.
Yeah.
But I'm bisexual, and Kat is married.
I sure am.
And to a beautiful woman, Jess.
I was going to say to a lady, yeah.
To a lady. No, Kat is, you're not bisexual, right? No.
No.
Okay, so yeah, we're both on the spectrum. So you also have that. So we'll be talking about LGBTQ issues, which we do anyway. And you know what? Women supporting women, women's powerful voices. So always, we have that, and that's what we also like to promote here is women being strong, and women, women everything. Yay, power to the women.
Basically, yeah, for sure.
So again, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this, and we will see you next time. And be kind.
Great, thank you very much.
Yes, and be kind and love big, guys.